Hello everyone, welcome to Anime no Mi, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. Law's fruit, known as the Ope Ope no Mi, is one of the most coveted fruits in the world because it has the ability to give immortality to an individual, something quite unique in the universe of One Piece. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the Ope Ope no Mi, what powers this fruit has, how the most powerful technique of the fruit works, and for what purpose Law could use this powerful technique. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like and even subscribe. Maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out and motivates us to make more content. And if you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or another one of your favorites with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So my friends, the Ope Ope no Mi is a Paramecia type devil fruit that grants the ability to manifest a spherical space in which the user calls it room. And within this area, the bearer of the fruit can modify anything and everything within. This fruit is perfect for doctors as its users can perform miraculous surgeries, cure intractable diseases, and even bypass physical disability. It's also called the ultimate devil fruit due to its unique power to grant another person eternal youth in exchange for the user's own life. For this reason, the Marines are willing to pay up to 5 billion berries, a bounty as great as that of the famous pirate and pirate king, making this fruit a really valuable one because of its incredible power. The Ope Ope no Mi allows its user to manipulate and reshape the world around them as if they were operating on it. By conjuring a sphere called Room, they gain control over everything within that territory, from living things, including themselves, to inanimate objects. Things in this room can be teleported, levitated, and moved to any other place through a power similar to telekinesis. You can also cut any object no matter how tough it is, and even allows the user to use unique techniques within the area. People who have body parts or even their entire bodies cut off within this area don't lose their lives. They can be rearranged and even stitched back together in different ways, allowing you to create even kind of a chimera of living beings or other living beings or objects. While the ability to freely manipulate people, objects, and even abstract concepts within the defined space is the signature power of the fruit, it is far from the only one. The user is able to manifest other energy-based techniques that work for a variety of purposes and grant enormous versatility in combat. From this vast power over space, the user can release energy in the form of high-voltage shocks that act like defibrillators, or form of electric blades that can bypass physical flesh, directly destroying internal organs. The Ope Ope no Mi has been described as having miraculous properties, having the ability to cure any kind of disease. But at the same time, it still requires some level of medical knowledge to be used effectively and to its greatest effect. Through this fruit, the user can heal disease and remove disease-causing impurities such as bacteria and viruses directly from the bodies of patients. So if a doctor possessed this great medical knowledge and they had this fruit, their medical skills would be unmatched across the world. So far as it's been revealed to us, the most recent two users of the fruit were exceptionally skilled and experienced surgeons or doctors. However, the first user who possessed the fruit was a great doctor in the past, but he lost his life. And of course, the current user of this fruit is Trafalgar Water D. Law, also known as the Surgeon of Death, possessing a great knowledge of medicine since his childhood because his father was in this same job, so he taught Law most of his knowledge. Law has demonstrated great medical prowess through the use of this fruit, being able to cure himself of a disease that no other doctor had the ability to cure. Law had also been able to cure some giant children in Punk Hazard of their drug addiction as well as from poisoning. However, the greatest power of this fruit, which earned its reputation as the ultimate devil fruit, is the ability to grant another person eternal youth through the eternal youth surgery. Although accomplishing this feat comes at the cost of the current fruit user's life. It seems as though the previous bearer of this fruit used this very technique on someone still unknown, causing the doctor to lose their life, but the person they used it on still remains alive to this day. Years after this doctor lost their life performing this powerful technique on someone, Doflamingo sought out this fruit to get Law to eat it and then use this immortality technique on himself so he could conquer the world and possibly dominate the world forever. Because according to Doflamingo, the world nobles possess a national treasure that if used in combination with the Ope Ope no Mi, it would allow the user to effectively conquer the entire world at once. An even more surprising piece of information is that this technique can be used even when the fruit has not been awakened, and we learn about this during the fight between Law and Luffy against Doflamingo. Law showed that he knew how to use this technique, and even though Doflamingo tried to force him to use it on him, Law denied him that prize. So this means that Law could use this technique on a person so that they would effectively live forever. Of course, it would be at the cost of his own life, and many theorize that Kaido might have been one of those people affected by this powerful technique because he is yet to have the ability to lose his own life. However, throughout the Wano arc, this idea idea was shattered because we saw that Kaido was just unable to lose his life because of an amazing amount of endurance, having had no interference from the Ope Ope no Mi at all. This means that the person who was affected by the immortality surge is still alive somewhere in the world. Now, we don't know why the doctor gave their life so that someone else could stay alive effectively forever, but it could be the very same reason why Law could sacrifice his life so that some other character could stay alive. It's difficult to know exactly on whom Law intends to use this fruit, and there are several events that could happen to Law that would make him want to use this secret fruit technique. For instance, Law could use it on someone in his crew or even on one of the Straw Hats. But it's likely that he wouldn't use this technique on some character, even one that might be as important as one of the Straw Hats, because even if some of them lost their lives, Oda probably wouldn't allow any one of them to remain immortal. Furthermore, this would be a great weight for any character to carry. After all, they would see their friends and companions losing their lives while they remained alive for all eternity, with only their memories of how they lived with their former crew. In fact, this would be something very similar to what Brook went through, so Law probably wouldn't use this technique on someone he wouldn't regret keeping alive forever. It would need to be a person who would need to stay alive, but who wouldn't interfere much with his future after the Straw Hats adventure is over. The awakening of this fruit is something also very interesting we've seen recently, because the user gains the ability to apply that space-altering property to any object the user desires through the use of special rooms. Law calls these special rooms Krooms, or K-rooms. As he concentrates his room in his hand, he forms a small sphere and then puts that sphere on something like his sword or another object. But as far as we've seen, once Law gives this room attribute to a sword or object, it means he can't use any of his other techniques, such as the ability to teleport or even modify people's bodies by cutting and then joining the parts in different ways. With that in mind, we could kind of consider the room works in a much more defensive way, disassembling and reassembling, while the K-room is a much more offensive technique, focused on causing damage to the opponents in a creative way. When Law assigns his K-room to his sword, he can make his blade stretch, being able to strike enemies at long distances. And when his sword comes into contact with an enemy's skin, it doesn't cut them. Rather, it simply passes right through the user's body like an injection. But then Law can use several attacks while the sword is in the user's body, like an energy discharge, to affect his opponents from the inside. Law can also cut his opponents in half, although he doesn't have the ability to manipulate their bodies in the way he would, say, if they were in their room. The body is just divided, but because this effect is due to a devil fruit, it might be that if he tried to cut his opponents, if they were to use their haki, they might be able to break the effect of the Ope Ope no Mi. So far, we've had very few chances to see Law use this power of his K-room, although he's already demonstrated that his techniques are quite interesting, possessing incredible capabilities. So through the awakening of this fruit, Law's been able to create new and very creative techniques, allowing him to face even a powerful enemy such as Teach. So the power of the Ope Ope no Mi is really amazing, but of course what really stands out is its ultimate ability to give immortality. But again, it's still too early to assume that someone will end up getting that immortality from Law. And again, like we said before, we haven't even seen the person who managed to achieve immortality through this fruit before. So once we learn how this process of becoming immortal through the Ope Ope no Mi works, might even get to see what consequences this immortality brought to them. So it's quite likely that Law will only use this technique towards the end of the One Piece story, where it might be essential to keep an ally alive so that they can prevent a major catastrophe from ever happening. And in this way, Law would sacrifice his life so that someone else could stay alive and remain fighting in this great battle yet to come. And this could be Luffy or even another character, but only towards the end of the work will we find out who may achieve immortality through the Ope Ope no Mi. So with all that covered, my friends, we'd love to know what you think about it. Who do you think may have been the benefactor of the last immortality surgery or eternal youth surgery? There have been many ideas out in the community that it possibly was Im-sama, or maybe that's what was happening at God Valley. What do you make of it? And also, if Law were to ever use that eternal youth surgery, who do you think he'd use it on? Let us know what you think in the comments below. So as we wrap up this video, I'd like to thank all of you so much for watching, and we really appreciate you staying with us all the way till the end of the video. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like and hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I hope to see you all in our next video. Let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.